Good evening. My name is Chris Donald. I serve our community as the university chaplain. Allow me to welcome you to our Founders Day ceremony. We're so glad that you are here with us, and I'd invite you to join me in our invocation. To the sustainer of living and knowing, we gather today, the inheritors and keepers of the legacy pro Humanitate, using gifts of curiosity, reason, and imagination to serve humanity, to help people, to express the fullness of what it means to be human. We thank you for Wake Forest University, a community that draws together knowledge and care, intellect and heart. We offer gratitude for those who have come before us and those who lead us now, leaders like Dr. Julie Freischlag and Dr. Wayne Meredith, whose work and achievements advance knowledge, serve their profession, build institutions, all guided by compassion and commitment to the health and well-being of others. As we mark this Founders Day, we recommit to the continuous founding of Wake Forest that unfolds even today. We pledge to nurture and pursue inquiry, creativity, and freedom, all for the thriving of your people here and beyond. And so we enter this time now with intention, with wonder, with gratitude, knowing that we are the connection between the Wake Forest that was and the Wake Forest that is yet to be. Amen.
Good afternoon, and welcome to each and every one of you to our 2026 Founders Day ceremony. Every year in February, we acknowledge our beginnings as a manual labor institute in the town of Wake Forest, North Carolina, in February of 1834. And we gather to celebrate how far we have come. We gather also to reflect on the many, many moments of achievement, growth, and change, and to look excitedly and hopefully forward. This year, we are celebrating 192 years of Wake Forest. 192 years of tradition and 192 years of change. 192 years of excellence and progress, and looking full of hope and excitement to the year ahead. We call these birthday celebrations Founders Day, as a way to honor the discovery and the determination that brought us from that small, unassuming manual labor institute to the Wake Forest University we know today. A university that is impossible to ignore. A home to leaders of character and integrity. A leading student-centered research university dedicated to its liberal arts foundation, driven to excel by the spirit of pro Humanitate. As I approach the conclusion of my presidency at the end of June, I've often reflected on my first year at Wake Forest and my first Founders Day ceremony. In learning about our Founders Day traditions, I was struck then, as I am today, about the complexity and the nuance of the word founders. Who is a founder? Who gets to found? For what purpose? What I said 4 years ago feels even more true today. To found is a verb. It's an action, not a single static moment frozen in the past. It implies motion, fluidity, and the courage to affirm over and over again our shared values. I believe that founding is a collective process, a collaborative endeavor. Simply put, founding is the work of all of us and all who came before us. As a great university, Wake Forest was founded in 1834 by those first students and faculty and staff, and in 1941 by the pioneers who moved our medical school to Winston-Salem, and in 1956 by the leaders who brought the college, the law and business schools to our new home here. Our new Reynolda campus expanded shortly thereafter in 1961 to include the graduate school, and in 1999 by leaders who established the Divinity School. And founding has happened over the past 5 years, all the way up to today, as we fully launched the School of Professional Studies and our second medical campus in Charlotte, and as we partner with others on the grounds, Innovation Quarter, and the Pearl. So rather than celebrating a single founding event or a singular founder, we recognize all that we do is what makes us who we are. We recognize that we are all founders, and our founding is never finished. Now, this is true not simply because there are spaces and places being updated and new buildings rising or new initiatives launching. It is never finished because every year we are joined by new voices, new students, faculty, staff, and families. Our founding is never finished because we are constantly innovating, forming new connections in the classroom, new constellations of friends and mentors, stretching the boundary of discovery while remaining anchored to the hallmark of care for one another, for humanity. I see this cycle everywhere, every day on campus. Students who were once first-year students becoming the campus leaders others look up to. Faculty who are experts in their disciplines continually digging deeper, achieving excellence in moving their scholarship forward to meet the challenges of an ever-changing world. Staff who steward our resources and traditions and are constantly reimagining a better campus life, ensuring that Pro Humanitate is felt in every interaction. In every step, the people of Wake Forest are collectively defining for themselves and for the world who we are. Our founding is never finished because no matter our academic disciplines or interests, we are all working together on the Wake Forest story. Now, some of us are writing brand new chapters, freshly imagined and full of possibility. Others are uncovering stories once forgotten or ignored, telling them more thoroughly, more honestly, and with more care. We are here today, and we are who we are today because of all the hands, all the minds, and all the hearts that make Wake Forest. Over the past nearly 5 years, I have called on all to be founders for the future and to engage in the hard work needed to accomplish great things, to build, to create, to write the ongoing story of Wake Forest. Today, in this, my last Founders Day address as president, I want to thank each of you for the many, many ways you have responded to that call. Because of you, I know that the tradition of founding is alive and thriving at Wake Forest. I know that it will continue. We are building a Wake Forest of access and opportunity, a Wake Forest with $175 million more for scholarships, with a dedicated early action program for first-generation students, a Wake Forest where North Carolina families who once thought Wake Forest too cost prohibitive to even consider are now able to send their deserving students due to the North Carolina Gateway to Wake Forest initiative, a Wake Forest with a child care center. We're also creating a Wake Forest that is a vibrant, innovative ecosystem of scholarship, research, and discovery. A Wake Forest with new academic opportunities that embrace the generative power of interdisciplinarity and radical collaboration, like the Neuroscience and Society Initiative with cutting-edge offerings at both the undergraduate and graduate levels, and the new undergraduate programs of study like the critical and creative media major and the accounting and business minors. A Wake Forest with unprecedented funding from foundations and generous donors to support academic expansions in leadership and character, entrepreneurship, divinity, and our reinvestments in technology and classrooms and the soon-to-open Alumni Hall, home to new spaces for the departments of philosophy, computer science, education, and the entrepreneurship program. And finally, especially on this day, we are doing more to tell the stories of Wake Forest, boldly and honestly. We are honoring trailblazing student and faculty leaders, undoubtedly founders in their own right, through the naming and renaming of our Renolda campus roads and a residence hall. And we're taking thoughtful action on the April 2021 Board of Trustees resolution that endorsed the campus memorialization project. I am truly grateful for the steering committee of faculty, staff, students, and alumni that worked diligently so that now, based upon the unanimous approval of the Board of Trustees earlier this month, we will take the next steps forward on the final design and construction of our campus memorial. An amphitheater and garden concept placed at the intersection of Wake Forest Road and Uri Drive on what is now Lot S. This memorial is designed to bring people together, to invite all in, to remember, to honor, to reflect on our past, and to learn, to discern how all can be founders for the future. This is the Wake Forest that we are founding together, a Wake Forest of opportunity, discovery, honesty, and excellence. As I look forward, I am so full of hope for what this university will continue to do to discover and invent itself. I am so full of gratitude for what we've accomplished in this era of Wake Forest, and deeply, deeply confident that this great university is positioned to continue thriving. In closing, I'd like to offer up a birthday wish of sorts for Wake Forest on this Founders Day. That we will remain a university passionately focused on purposeful excellence, driven to discover and do good. That we will remain ever open-hearted to ways we can more fully embody our sacred Pro Humanitate motto. And that we will embrace being both unafraid to tell the story of who we have been and who we are, and excited to write the next chapter of who Wake Forest will be. Thank you.
Good afternoon. That was quite lovely. My name is Eric Stottlemyre. I am Associate Dean for Interdisciplinary Curricula in the college and a teaching professor in the Department of English. Today, as we commemorate our founding, we not only celebrate our past, but also the living spirit of this institution. Few things embody that spirit more than senior orations. This Wake Forest tradition began in 1835 when our first students embraced public discourse as a cornerstone of their liberal arts education. So think about that for a moment. This long-standing Wake Forest tradition precedes considerably the American Civil War. The orations process is demanding, involving faculty nominations and a rigorous evaluation by faculty readers, resulting in rhetorical statements that serve as a testament to the growth and resilience of our students. For nearly 2 centuries, our orators have used their voices to push our community, to challenge our assumptions, and to inform our collective future. They remind us that at Wake Forest, our students give as much as they receive. With rhetorical aplomb, they offer us a mirror to see who we are and a map to see who we might become. This year, 40 students submitted critical reflections on their educational experiences at Wake Forest. A committee of faculty chose 10 outstanding finalists who spoke at the senior colloquium. One student's voice stood out for the emotional resonance and earnest vision of her oration, and a separate committee of faculty selected her as our 2026 senior orator, Chase Clark. In her oration, "I've Seen Why the Caged Bird Sings," Chase draws upon the legacy of Dr. Maya Angelou, finding the inspiration and agency to forge her identity and build a place of belonging at Wake Forest. Through her work as a student researcher, as the president of the Black Student Alliance, and the creator of the Chase at Wake podcast, Chase has spent her 4 years here ensuring that her voice and the voices of those around her never wither in silence, but rather are magnified through courage and resolve. To officially introduce Chase, I would like to welcome her faculty senior advisor and my very good friend and colleague, Dr. Alessandra von Berg, who has mentored Chase through her remarkable academic career.
Good afternoon. My name is Alessandra von Berg. I'm Associate Faculty in Communication, and it is my honors to introduce Chase Clark. I met Chase as our advisor in communication. Chase carefully planned and balanced her double majors and her leadership roles across campus, including, as you just heard, president of the Black Students Alliance and homecoming queen, and as well as her engagement in the community, celebrated with the 2025 MLK Building the Dream Award. Chase is intentional and thoughtful in everything she does, already advancing her research and devoting herself to community work. Chase's hometown is Colfax, North Carolina. Chase's double majors are African American Studies and Communication. After graduation, Chase will be a PhD student in Black Studies and continued serving through her nonprofit, Chase's Chance. The title of her oration, as you've heard, is "I've Seen Why the Caged Bird Sings."
I am a woman, phenomenally, with an expensive smile, at least that's what my grandmother always told me. I walk into a room just as cool as I please, my passion, my purpose found in community. These are truths I hold about myself, truths confirmed through my experiences as a student at Wake Forest University. While my present sentiments dance with pride and presence wrapped in the rhythm of Dr. Maya Angelou's poetry, my journey did not always sound like a confident declaration. Rather, the first year of my Wake Forest career moved more like a whisper, a quiet negotiation between who I was and who I thought I had to become just to belong, just to breathe here. 4 years ago, I arrived on this campus, suitcases overflowing with freshly purchased clothes, a result of a mother and a daughter who believed special occasions deserved the perfect outfit, and becoming a student at Wake Forest University was indeed a special occasion. Along with those clothes, I carried the weighty expectations I had held since girlhood, some lovingly passed down, many self-imposed. I remember the bearing of my family members as they carried the boxes from the cars into my new home. Their pride served as a steady assurance that I was exactly where I should be. I cherish that memory because shortly after they left, the air seemed to shift. Though the walls were freshly painted and the halls buzzed with introductions, I felt a silence settling within me, a stillness that pressed against my chest, reminding me of every room I had to shrink in to survive. In an instant, I was brought back to childhood days as a childlike Chase was told that she was too loud and too talkative to ever be successful. I was reminded of all of the times I worked to organize for my nonprofit organization, but was given a look of pity rather than a donation. It took me back to those tormented teenage years when my social media feed and the content on TV seemed to deny Black women any opportunity at happiness, success, and love. I was seated in a continuum of all of these experiences as I sat on the foot of my dorm room bed, a stranger in a world that I was also a citizen of. The weight of performance began to set in, like the water eases into shore. I did not fight the familiar because I had been here before. Night after night in my dorm room, I wondered how to exist in a place like Wake Forest, a place clearly not designed with me in mind. While I navigated the complicated terrain of being the only Black woman in many of my classes, one of the few Black women on my residence hall floor, and the minefield that is daily microaggressive conversation, every choice felt heavier, every gesture deliberate, every word carefully measured before it even left my mouth. Night after night in my dorm room, I wondered how I could carve out small pockets of comfort where my joy needed no explanation and my decisions no defense. To carry the reach of my dreams, my words and talents, the stride of my steps, the curl of my lips. In my first year of college, I learned how to carry through creation. I decided to stop shrinking, and I started building. Despite those nightly deliberations on how to craft methods for belonging in this space, marked by notebooks filled with half-formed thoughts and ideas, my daily experiences in this very space began to provide answers. African American studies met me where I was, a young Black woman trying to negotiate identity, space, and belonging here. In my first African American studies course, I read Toni Cade Bambara, who wrote, "Not all speed is movement." She reminded me that true revolution of character and of culture requires careful, deliberate craftsmanship. Communication courses taught me the rhetorical impression one could make on the world, leveraging language to change not only the world, but your life. Writing courses taught me that everything can be revised, no matter how attached you or anyone else becomes to a particular narrative. From those long nights and daily lessons, I found the inspiration to create my second podcast, Chase at Wake. It was never just about making a podcast, but rather crafting a mirror, creating an active archive, building a welcoming home for voices too often pushed to the margins, and inviting those voices to provide that same support for others. Over time, the podcast became a presence in campus life. First-year students stopped me in Tribble Courtyard saying they recognized my voice, sharing how episode 4 helped them navigate Wake's culture. A high school student from Connecticut wrote that my words made Wake feel like a place where she could belong. I've led campus tours where students lingered afterwards, thanking me for the honesty I'd recorded late night alone in my dorm room. As I gave language to my truth, that truth echoed back to me, louder, clearer, and alive in the community that it helped to create. Through my podcast, I discovered my purpose. I am here to lead others towards a welcoming place of belonging for all. This purpose shaped everything that followed. By junior year, I was saying yes to everything I once felt too small to claim. I studied abroad in London and Greece. I conducted research in the African American Studies Department. I became president of the Black Student Alliance, and I've served in that role for 2 years. Other roles followed: a resident advisor, a president's aide, a tour guide. I wrote for 3 different school publications. I joined the sorority of my dreams, thus creating an additional connection to Dr. Angelo. All the while, I was still producing my podcast, managing my academic workload, and leading through my nonprofit organization, Chase's Chance. As I near the end of my time here, I see that I gave my all to Wake Forest because it gave me the time and space to reflect, grow, and cultivate a vision of a better world. Not only that, but Wake Forest gave me the tools and the network needed to help create that world. From the questioning first-year student walking across the quad, unsure of herself and her place at this university, to the woman standing before you today, I have found my voice, and I've used it to create a space that I now hold very dearly. Nowadays, you will see me running across campus, notebook always in hand, email steadily open, and a head full of plans. You will hear me laughing too loudly in Benson or whispering affirmations to a first-year student. Know that when you watch me advocate, organize, lead, I am not just moving for me. Rather, I am guided by reverence for my ancestors who lived and worked on a plantation I was fortunate to visit and research this past summer. I am their threshold for contemporary revival. I act for the youth of my city, hoping to expand the horizon of possibilities despite worldly doubts of our capability. I am their advocate and their cheerleader. I now move for the Black students who will walk these halls long after I am gone, wondering if they too belong. I am their voice, and they have been my motivation. And now you understand just why my head's not bowed, why I walk with purpose, running from each side of campus if time allows. When you see me pass by, know that I am busy making my people proud of who I am growing to be, a woman filled with purpose, moved by a mission to serve humanity, a woman who has spent her time at Wake Forest phenomenally. Thank you.
Thank you again to our choir for sharing your inspiring voices. And thank you, Chase, for being a phenomenal founder. We now turn to the part of our program, another important Founders Day tradition, and that is the presentation of the university's highest honor, the Medallion of Merit. This year's medallion will be presented to two truly unrivaled individuals. It is my distinct honor to recognize them today. But first, please direct your attention to the screen for our Medallion of Merit tribute video.
If they ever made a sequel to the movie It's a Wonderful Life, it could be done about Wayne Meredith. Wayne's a genius.
He is one of the most determined people I've ever met.
He's very clever with words and has lots of Wayneisms.
You know, he's somebody when you see him walking down the hallway, you're glad to see him.
He would always put the people he worked with ahead of his own needs.
You don't get the sense that Wayne is doing it for his own aggrandizement, but it's always in service to others.
I grew up with the principles of integrity, hard work, and love Wake Forest. So I've been connected with Wake Forest at some level or another for over 50 years. It's been a love affair. It's been a roller coaster. It's been terrific, actually.
Well, what you don't know is that behind everything that Wayne says is a whole world that he has changed in medicine.
Wayne is the father of modern trauma care and has done a phenomenal amount of work in surgical services.
He really took our trauma system and made it superior.
He has been able to institute changes across the whole structure of how we respond to trauma.
He created a pediatric trauma foundation. Even though he's not a pediatric trauma surgeon, he was the lead to it. He's nationally and internationally known for what he's done in trauma.
We began the process of integrating the hospital and the School of Medicine into what we now know as Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center. And Wayne was one of the principal physician architects of that.
He was a critical leader in understanding Wake Forest culture and what we had to preserve as we became bigger.
Wayne has taken us from an outstanding regional medical center to a nationally recognized surgical place to go and get your training and place to go and get your care. And then he becomes the first faculty member at Wake Forest to be the president of the American College of Surgeons.
The American College of Surgeons is actually one of the largest surgical societies in the world. We focus on pretty much everything that helps surgeons help patients. So Dr. Meredith is another icon, of course, and his leadership is really transformative. When we think about organized trauma systems, trauma care, and literally life-saving innovation.
He was right out there on the front lines. He was seeing patients, he was doing surgery, he was taking call.
Patients were at the center of everything that Wayne basically focused on.
As a leader, he asked for everyone's opinion and developed consensus.
As leaders, sometimes you really think you're supposed to make the decision quick, have it all together. So he taught me that, where maybe we don't have to make the decision today. Some decisions are better tended to.
He was willing to understand more opposing points of view, take those into account, and I think he became more of a passionate leader who drew differences toward him rather than similarities.
I think that's another attribute of a great leader like Wayne is that we all have our biases, but if you bring in a diverse group of people as decision makers, can really enlighten us into what we don't know. And Wayne was brilliant at that.
He wanted to make sure that everyone was represented, that every voice was heard. He basically is there to serve others. That is Wayne.
I try to live my life with the presumption of virtuous intent.
That is a Wayne Meredithism that, before you become negative about anything, think of what the person is saying and why they might be saying it and understand it better.
Trust is so important. And when you're in an environment where everyone's really trying to do their best for their patients, and if you're assuming that people are not doing their best, then it doesn't work. And so you have to assume that that is actually what people are willing to do.
I try to train and inspire others to live their life with a presumption of virtuous intent, because you have to be accountable. And I think that is so parallel to Humanitate. That is so parallel to the way of being that we want to be in the culture of Wake Forest, that it has molded that concept in me, and I have tried to propagate that in every nook and cranny of the institution that I can.
His mentorship lives on in so many surgeons, in so many parts of healthcare. It's hard to overestimate the wisdom that he can provide.
He has an impact on patients' lives that he has never even seen.
Presume virtuous intent. I think that has to be the life lesson that's most sticks with me and affects more of the way I do things than anything else.
I received a phone call from Wayne. He said, I have something to tell you. And
He told me that he had acute myelocytic leukemia. And they told him, if you do nothing, you have about a week. If you get a bone marrow transplant at your age, you only have a 30% chance of survival.
It was an ordeal. And one of the ways I survived it was I developed the motto of endure, adapt, survive, and thrive.
Came up with the acronym EAST, and that's the way he wrestled control back under his domain.
Wayne's attitude about life is, if you think the very best outcome will happen, chances are that that is what will happen.
I think he's here today mostly due to his determination.
He was actually so instrumental in the lives of so many people at the medical center. When it was time to name the new project at the medical center for the new phase of where we are today, guess what they named it? EAST, in honor of Wayne.
Project East became the rallying cry behind the tower, and really, I think, brought people together when people needed to be brought together.
To have someone so knowledgeable and so understanding of how all the different pieces of surgery fit together. He really has affected Wake Forest in so many ways and developed us into such a better place to be.
Wayne has really done amazing work in bringing honor to Wake Forest.
He really helped orchestrate that tower and then surprised me. Our board named it after me, so it's the Julian Freischlag Tower, which shocked me, to tell you the truth.
It's been one of the greatest pleasures and honors of my life to be able to work with Julie. Julie is one of those people you want to be around, because if you can become more like Julie, you will be better off for it.
When Julie Freischlag came to Wake Forest, it was really thrilling for all of us.
In the vascular surgery world, Dr. Freischlag has been a trailblazer, so we all know of her.
We needed a person who could dream beyond where we had been before.
and Wayne had known Julie for a long time. The partnership that they developed really raised the clinical significance of our medical center nationally.
It was such a natural fit. When Julie arrived, it was like all of us realized, wow, this is what we needed.
She has just this incredible amount of energy, like puts us all to shame.
She packs 40 hours into every day.
She can literally listen to 3 or 4 conversations and participate in all of them.
To be multiple places all at the same time is just a huge skill, and one that she's used for the betterment of Wake.
She has really paved the trail for all women in surgery. We were so lucky that we were able to see all of what she is.
The first woman chair of surgery at Johns Hopkins, certainly one of the very, very few in early surgery and in early vascular surgery. And she has never forgotten that part of her job is to make a pathway for women in medicine.
She's been very formative in kind of my trajectory as a leader at Wake. She saw some potential in me that I didn't necessarily see in myself at the time. I think if I hadn't have known Julie, I don't think I would have felt like I was able to take on a leadership role.
She always made a point to make sure that I stayed true to myself. And that has really empowered me.
After Wayne was named the president of the American College of Surgeons, the very next year, Julie Freischlag becoming the president of the American College of Surgeons. Never happened before where 2 surgeons from the same place were back-to-back presidents of the American College of Surgeons. That is really an amazing tribute to the Wake Forest School of Medicine and Wake Forest University.
She has done a lot of things that are firsts, whether that be creating opportunities for those who don't have them. It's a passion of hers, and she has just shattered that ceiling.
What she is most known for is bringing people together.
She can build teams that are the highest functioning. She says this is her superpower, is that she can look into your soul and see what kind of person you are. And she can.
You just can't be around her and not be inspired to do better at what you do.
I feel like the mentoring and sponsoring part is so strong coming from her. I felt like she really made Wake Forest a people's place.
Just looking out for everyone who is there, but those who are not there.
She just has that vision of how she can make you better and how she can connect you and how then you can pay that forward to other generations.
When she came in, she noticed that we were not delivering babies.
And it didn't make any sense because really women make most of the health decisions for their families. So if they deliver the baby with you, they'll probably stay and be with you.
I was the chief of surgery, and she came to me and said, Wayne, we only have so much money and we have got to build a birthing center. That was a courageous thing for her to see, and she was right. And she was brave enough to know that she was right.
In the first year, we delivered 3,200 babies.
When Julie came, we began to do a study about if we wanted to become a very preeminent academic medical center, how large would we need to be? What kind of resources would we need to accomplish that? And one of the things that became apparent to us was that no matter what we did, we weren't large enough for us to achieve the level of aspiration we actually had.
We acquired the High Point Memorial and Wilkes Medical Centers. But having said that, we needed that surgery tower. We needed that new ED facility.
We needed a partner. But we needed a partner who would fully appreciate the academic medical side. We found a great partner in Atrium who really wanted us to be at the core of what they were doing.
Julie knew that. She identified that. She was very clear about it. She led us to do the deal with Atrium.
It brought us the capital we needed to build out everything you've seen built out here along the way. Julie designed, worked with the team, and of course today it's a magnificent addition to the campus. And again, we'll deliver kind of care that for the next 50 years that we dream about for the community.
Then we decided it was a very fitting way to honor her service and name it after her.
Atrium also wanted us to build a second medical school campus in Charlotte.
Charlotte's been trying to open med school for decades, and it just couldn't happen. And I believe that it was because the right people weren't involved in the conversation. And Julie is just the right person to be involved in that conversation.
So the Pearl is really a unique opportunity to leverage what we have with academics and innovation.
Growing into Charlotte, I think, has created opportunities for people in Winston-Salem, for people at the medical school that we never would have had before. Julie's legacy is preserving the most sacred parts of Wake Forest and of our culture and what it means to work for humanity and to serve humanity.
I think Wake Forest will be the destination training center. And whether that's in Winston-Salem or Charlotte, we will have prospective residents and we'll have medical students who will say, I want to go to Wake Forest.
Julie saw that with a lot of team and people, but it would not have been seen without her. I think one of the things that really strikes me is this place is incredibly visionary now. Like there's nothing we can't do. And we always, that was living somewhere in Wake Forest, and that was somewhere in the School of Medicine, and Julie has brought that front and center. Eternal gratitude to both, Julie and Wayne. And kudos to Wake Forest for seeing the potential in both these people and allowing them to shape who we are and who we've become.
Beautiful videos giving you a wide view of these recipients of the 2026 Wake Forest University Medallion of Merit. Given annually since 1968, the Medallion of Merit is the highest honor bestowed upon an individual by Wake Forest. It's given for outstanding achievement and distinguished contribution to the university. And it's my great pleasure to formally introduce each of them to be bestowed with their award. Our first recipient is a surgeon, professor, and trauma care pioneer whose extraordinary foundational work transformed trauma treatment in North Carolina and the country. And we are so pleased to recognize Dr. J. Wayne Meredith as a 2026 Medallion of Merit recipient. Dr. Meredith's legacy of achievements helped propel Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist into national prominence as an academic learning health system. For 36 years, he served Wake Forest in the operating room, classroom, and boardroom, retiring in 2024 as Chief of Clinical Chairs at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist and Chair of Surgery at the School of Medicine. Known as the, quote, father of North Carolina trauma care, Dr. Wayne Meredith founded the trauma program at Wake Forest and fundamentally transformed pediatric and adult patient care. He engineered a statewide trauma system, establishing a coordinated network of collaboration among state trauma centers and emergency medical service providers. Dr. Meredith also founded and served as president of the Piedmont Regional Trauma System, creating a formal trauma partnership between Novant Health Forsyth Medical Center and Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist. His innovative approach to trauma system management became a national model, and his leadership extended to serving as president of the North Carolina Trauma Registry and chair of the American College of Surgeons North Carolina Committee on Trauma. Dr. Meredith's dedicated service to the American College of Surgeons culminated in his appointment as chair of its National Committee on Trauma and his installation as president of the organization in 2020. At Wake Forest, he has held numerous leadership roles, including Chief of Clinical Chairs at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist, Chair of Surgery at the School of Medicine, and Director of the Burn Center, Air Care, and the Surgical Fellowship Program. He also served on the hospital and medical center boards. In the past decade, he's been a tireless advocate for the construction of the Freshlog Tower, the state-of-the-art critical care facility at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist that opened in 2025. For establishing a life-saving, statewide trauma care system in North Carolina that serves as a national model. For inspiring the highest standards of compassionate, patient-centered care in his colleagues and students, and for demonstrating far-sighted vision in his support of the innovative critical care tower on campus, Wake Forest confers its highest honor, the Medallion of Merit, on Dr. J. Wayne Meredith. Dr. Meredith and his wife, Gail, are unable to join us today because they are currently in country on a long-awaited safari. Accepting the Medallion of Merit on behalf of Dr. Meredith is Dr. Craig Gevin, the Richard J. Weaver Professor and Chair of Ophthalmology at Wake Forest School of Medicine and Senior Vice President, Wake Forest Medical Group, whom you will recognize from the video. Doctors Meredith and Gevin are longtime colleagues and friends who for the past 3 decades have shared a unified vision to enhance the clinical and academic mission of Wake Forest University School of Medicine. I now ask Dr. Gevin to join me to accept the medallion on Dr. Meredith's behalf. Also receiving the Medallion of Merit is vascular surgeon, educator, and senior executive, Dr. Julie Ann Freshlog, whose leadership has shaped academic medicine and guided Wake Forest's educational health system through an era of remarkable growth and innovation. For nearly 4 decades, Dr. Freshlog has positively impacted our nation's culture of medical education as the first female surgeon appointed to key leadership positions in highly ranked programs across the country. In December 2025, she retired as CEO and Chief Academic Officer of Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist, Chief Academic Officer and Executive Vice President of Advocate Health, and Executive Vice President of Health Affairs at Wake Forest University. Dr. Freshlog served as the immediate past Dean of the Wake Forest University School of Medicine, and previously as Vice Chancellor and Dean at the UC Davis School of Medicine. Throughout her career, she has achieved a series of historic milestones for women in surgery. She was the first woman in the nation to serve as Chair of Surgery, appointed Chief of Surgery at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, and Surgery-in-Chief of Johns Hopkins Hospital. She was also first and remains the only woman to serve as Chief of Vascular Surgery at UCLA's Medical School. And she is the only woman ever appointed President of the Society for Vascular Surgery, and she was the first woman to serve as President of the Association of VA Surgeons. Her additional national leadership roles include serving as President of the American College of Surgeons and as immediate past chair of the Board of Directors of the Association of American Medical Colleges. An esteemed vascular surgeon, Dr. Freshlog has written over 400 original papers and nearly 60 textbook chapters. Her numerous awards include the 2023 Lifetime Achievement Award from the Society for Vascular Surgery, an Achievement Award from the Department of Veterans Affairs, and the Trailblazer Award from the Society of University Surgeons. Dr. Freshlog's visionary and courageous leadership has had a profound impact. Dr. Freshlog led us through an era of unprecedented evolution, overseeing the historic transition from Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center to Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist, and ultimately to our partnership with Advocate Health. Under her stewardship, our School of Medicine has been elevated to be the academic core of a $40 billion national healthcare system, expanding our impact further than ever before. Through this, she moved with focus and deep integrity to ensure that our clinical and academic missions were not just supported, but that those clinical and academic missions were perfectly integrated, recognizing that the best medicine is fueled by the best research and the best people-centered care. From pioneering new academic programs to establishing our second medical school campus in Charlotte, as a surgeon, educator, and mentor, she models collegial respect, professionalism, and work-life balance. Her enduring legacy of compassionate care is reflected in the Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist new critical care tower, named in her honor. The Julie Ann Freshlog Tower provides advanced technologies, innovative treatments, and expanded critical care services in a setting designed for comfort and healing. For ensuring that Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist is positioned to serve the future health needs of our community. For encouraging women in medicine to effect culture change through leadership. For infusing Wake Forest educational health system with a commitment to academic excellence, groundbreaking research, and compassionate care. Wake Forest confers its highest honor, the Medallion of Merit, on Dr. Julie Ann Freshlog. I now ask Dr. Freshlog to the stage to receive the medallion.
So I sort of misunderstood. They told me I had an hour and a half to talk, but I guess it's a little about 2% of that. Wow. So I wish this on all of you, that you can look back to people, especially you young people that you know today, and 30 or 40 years later, you get to celebrate with someone who you adored and knew during your whole career. And that's Wayne and myself. Wayne, I know he's not here today, you know, because he needed to go on that safari. I think that's because I've been going on him, so he had to do one too, right? But I've known Wayne since we both finished training in the 80s. And he walked up to me in 2016 at the Southern Surgical Association. And I had just interviewed here with Dr. Hatch. Thank you for being here, Dr. Hatch. And he just looked at me and goes, you know, you need to come. You need to take this job. And I hadn't told anybody. I said, what job? He goes, you know what job. Yeah, you need to come because we need you. We need you to take us to that next dimension. So joining here not only was Dr. Hatch and his team, that was fabulous, and Don is here as well too, and many of the trustees, but off we came for reasons that the people here are just amazing. Good people, good care, and an opportunity to make a difference. I had absolutely no idea that we were going to do any of this, okay? So you just show up and you pay attention. I had no idea we would end up with Advocate Health, Atrium Health. I knew we wanted another school. We had talked about that. And even the growth in our region. We have gone from 1.8 billion to almost 7 or 8 billion of taking on more rural hospitals and getting better access for our patients and figuring out innovation. Just today, High Point Hospital is the second hospital to have the new Hugo robot in it. High Point Hospital. The first was Cleveland Clinic that did a case last week. But High Point Hospital has that. Isn't that amazing for our community? And all became possible because we listened and we knew what the right things were to do. I've had lots of help during my life. I really enjoyed your talk today because I know a bit about that when you walk in and you're a woman surgeon, and I must admit I've had to explain that a lot in my life to do it, sometimes a little loudly, so I think we have something in common. But I think all of it is well worth it. The new generation always wants now 5 things to do. Don't tell me how to feel, don't tell me what to do, you tell me how to make this work. And I love that, I think, about the new generation. So I teach a leadership course, and they asked me to touch on that. I think you gotta listen. You gotta listen to your patients, to the community, to everyone around you. I had to listen to Dr. Hatch, Dr. Wente as she came, Jean Woods, all of that. You have to listen to your students, your residents, your patients, your new leaders such as Dean Bulware and Dr. Zoss. And as you listen, as Wayne taught me, you don't have to make a decision, Julie, just settle down and think about it for tomorrow. And then you have to form these amazing relationships with people, just like you do with your fellow students, with the choir, with your professors, with your patients. You develop those relationships because that leads you to that North Moravian star to always do the right thing. And those relationships will never let you down. Where Wayne would come in and say, you can't do that, or you have to do this. Or Carla and Willie who are here said, you really don't want to say that. That you really need to have those wonderful relationships. And then you do need to make tough decisions. We made tough decisions. We had COVID, we had the tower, we had other partners, we had financial issues, we had this, we had that. It was, we had a big snowstorm that first year, but you had a worse one this year, right? It's always something. And then healthcare reform and all the things going on with the federal government, many of that going forward as we try to increase research. So you have to make all those tough decisions. And probably the fourth is you need to be that same person wherever you are. I am the same person that knew Wayne Meredith back in the 80s when he ran the committee on trauma at the American College of Surgeons, and I was trying to convince him that vascular surgery was an important specialty and that he couldn't do all the vascular surgery in the future. We needed specialists. He listened, right, to do it. But you need to be that same person as you have conversations, as people approach you, so they know you're listening, they know you're forming the relationships, they know you're going to make those great decisions, and you're that same person all the time. I was just at the Robert Wood Johnson fellow interviews for health policy fellows, and I got to sit next to one of the fellows who's from New York, who's a urologist, mainly because his dad died early of prostate cancer. We got to sit next to each other at dinner, and we were chatting, and he was a fellow at Hopkins when I was the chair of surgery 2007 and 2008. I said, I didn't know you. He goes, we knew you. We knew you. We watched you walk in the door. We listened to you speak. You solved the problems. We actually watched you walk through the hall. He goes, I've been wanting to hear you because you were the same person those 11 years as you walked through the hall. And we watched that, and you taught me that. So I am that person. Just blew me away. So you never know who you're having impact on. And lastly is joy. We saw lots of joy in all of this talk. The video was unbelievable. They did cut out the part when we made fun of each other, Wayne and I. I would like those cuts because I know we said weird stuff about each other. It was good, so I want all those cuts. But the relationship I've had with Wayne and with all of you has made it all so purposeful. The last story I'll tell you, the tower has been amazing. It's beautiful. I got to do a few cases there before I left. My first case, the anesthesiologist came up to me and said, you know, we normally don't get to know people whose towers are named after them because they're dead. And I was like, thanks for sharing. I knew he meant something good, right, to do that. But it is an amazing place to do it. So the last couple of quotes I'll give you is, the best way to predict the future is to invent it. We got to invent it. What fun did we have despite all the stress and strain? And now we've handed it off to two amazing leaders, in Dr. Bulwer and Dr. Zoss, to even take us further. There was a video today or a town hall today that Dr. Bulwer led for our new National Center for Clinical Trials. Can't get more exciting that everyone in our system will have access to clinical trials. My brother painted that beautiful butterfly painting that's in the entryway of the Freischlag Tower. And I just want to read you the quote from my brother about a butterfly's night's blue moon. This luminous watercolor unites two rare wonders: butterflies in flight at night in the mystical blue moon. Butterflies symbolize transformation, hope, and the courage to embrace change, while the blue moon represents rarity, renewal, and new beginnings. The work also nods to the blue moon butterfly, known for its striking iridescence. Together, these elements invite reflection on growth, healing, and extraordinary moments illuminating our lives. Thank you for an extraordinary moment illuminating my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Freischlag. And thank you, Ms. Clark, for your reflection on your experience here at Wake Forest. And of course, thank you, Dr. Wente, for your words today. Just a glimpse, a small glimpse of your leadership over these recent years. And thank you to Dr. Chris Gillum and the members of the Chamber Choir. You take these ordinary moments in the life of a university and you make them extraordinary. Thank you. During his decades of leadership at Wake Forest, there was a quote that President William Poteet shared again and again. It was written by a journalist soon after the founding of Wake Forest in 1834. They have kindled a light in the Wake Forest Institute that I trust will soon shed its beams over the whole state. While those 19th century founders of Wake Forest envisioned the school providing light to the state, our gathering today acknowledges that the light of Wake Forest University reaches North Carolina, but also far beyond. Because of these founders that we've recognized today, the light has been shed on the medical profession and the lives of countless people across the country and indeed around the world. And even as we celebrate the founders of the past and the present, we see the hope and the promise of our present generation of founders, our students and our graduates today, that they share here on campus and that they carry with them as they leave dear old Wake Forest. In just a moment, the words of the alma mater will be on the screen behind me. I invite you to join the choir in honoring our mother so dear. After that, the president and our medallion recipients, Ms. Clark and their families and friends, will join us across the plaza in the green room of Reynalda Hall. So if you will follow us out and across Hearn Plaza to Reynalda Hall, we'll we'll join together in a time of congratulation, celebration, and conversation. Thank you.